Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talking Logistics. It's just me today, and hoping that everyone is safe and healthy out there on this Tuesday morning. Well, today I just wanted to kind of just share, some thoughts that I've been having that was triggered by Billy Bean. So Billy Bean, the general manager of the Oakland A's, the baseball team, he was one of the keynote speakers at one of the last conferences that I went to this year, where I also had the opportunity to speak. And one of the things that Billy Bean said that caught my attention and something that I wrote about is he said, you can't operate your business in 2020 as if it were still 1999. And it got me thinking, what if this pandemic had hit in 1999? Right now, we're experiencing all sorts of challenges, and many supply chain professionals are actually working from home. Yesterday on Talking Logistics, I shared some research results that we did with our Indago community, where 82% of our Indago members that responded to the survey are working, from home. But if you think back to 1999, that would have been extremely difficult, if not impossible. So when you think of just the enterprise applications, most enterprise applications back then were client-server architecture. We didn't have software as a service or the cloud back then, at least not in the type of scale that we have today. So really being able to log in to a TMS, a WMS, a demand system, any kind of ERP, any kind of enterprise system was very difficult. You had to use Citrix or some other kind of mechanism, but certainly wasn't as easy and as scalable as it is today with all these web services and web applications and software as a service. The other thing is that, we also didn't have the mobile devices, no iPhone, no iPad. So, all those things that make us, give the opportunity for us to work really from anywhere at any time, be able to access data and information and so forth. Again, really didn't exist in 1999. Many folks are using Zoom today to communicate and collaborate with their colleagues and with their trading partners. And video conferencing back in 1999 was extremely expensive. It was really only accessible to just a handful of companies, certainly not as widely available as it is today. So even something like this, like Zoom, which is what I use here for this conversation, again, didn't exist back then. So the ability to communicate and collaborate with colleagues and trading partners would have been much more different, back in 1999, than it is, today. And part of the reason, you didn't have things like Zoom back then was that Wi-Fi was only 2 years old in 1999. It was only introduced in 1997, and certainly, orders of magnitude less capable and powerful, than it is today. So just this whole area of working from home, when you think about compare 1999 to today, would have been just much more, challenging and difficult, if not impossible, for many folks, back then. Then, of course, when you think about e-commerce, many of us in many different states are sheltering at home, and we're relying on, home delivery and e-commerce to, minimize the amount of times that we have to go to stores to purchase things. Certainly, there's the challenges right now in terms of the delivery companies trying to scale up and meet this demand for home delivery. But it is, home delivery now is, the norm rather than the exception. Back then in 1999, it would have been the exception, not the rule. So even from an e-commerce standpoint, back then it was still in its infancy. Today, it's much more common and something that is, helping to minimize the impact of what's happening. And then finally, just from a personal lives perspective, there was no Netflix or other streaming services. So those things that are helping us to keep sane in our personal lives and binge watch, shows and help to connect with folks, YouTube and things like that, just didn't exist back then. So anyway, just some food for thought, just some perspective. We certainly are facing a lot of challenges today on the health front, obviously on the business front, a lot of small businesses and people getting laid off and small businesses, being challenged. But again, I think, one of the things, the positive things, if you want to look at it from a positive perspective, is that, at least we're not in 1999, at least we're in 2020 where we have, the technology capabilities and other, business models and so forth that are, even though it's challenging, it's certainly helping helping us to weather this storm. Hopefully, reach better days sooner rather than later. So anyway, just some thoughts for today. I wish everyone to continue to remain safe and healthy, and look forward to talking with you again real soon. Have a great day.